hiya, 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 hiya. Who am I? Who am I doing an impression of? Hiya, 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 hiya. I'm the villain from Tomorrow Never Dies. Hiya, 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 hiya. Hoo, hoo, hoo. Okay. So let's do a lightning round of Joe Dante movies. Do you like how animated I'm being? Like, ooh, isn't that... Ooh, he's crazy. He's like animated and nuts. This guy's nuts. Okay, so I'm trying to sell a used car. Come on down to Crazy Eddie's. No, okay. So, lightning round of Joe Dante films. I'm looking at the at Letterboxd's list of films directed by Joe Dante. I'm just gonna go in order that they list. Wait a minute. Never mind. Oh, I can't get it. Okay, never mind. I'll just go in the order that they have them. Like, all right. So Gremlins. Saw this as a kid. Loved it. I remember the trailer for Gremlins when it was like the narrator was like, they like to sneak around and bite you on the ass, and I don't know what. No, that was actually the trailer. That was actually Ghoulies. They'll get you in the end, which I was very hyped for Ghoulies because I was like, I loved Gremlins, so I was like, oh, good, more of this kind of thing. And it's like a creature coming out of the toilet, which was pretty scary. The idea was I wasn't traumatized by it. Like no movie really traumatized me as a kid because I wasn't like oh no, like you traumatized like you were kidnapped by the Taliban or something. No. But yeah, I loved Gremlins. And I did not love Ghoulies. That was the first thing I can remember like being hyped for a movie and then like, oh, this isn't very good. Dang. Ghoulies 2 is really good though. I like Ghoulies 2 a lot. Ghoulies 2 is more of what I wanted. I would have been very happy if Ghoulies 1 had been Ghoulies 2. So yeah, Gremlins. I do remember the trailer where it was like, they like just it's like the narrator intoning, and it said something like they like to sneak around and cause mischief and trouble, and then some guy in the back behind me in the theater was like, we got too many of them around here, and everybody laughed like yeah, fun, good times. Really sadistic movie, a very sadistic kind of almost evil movie. I think it's of a piece with Dante's flaky mania period of his early, with movies like Piranha and The Howling. It's very much of a piece with The Howling. It's like very clearly the same guy who made The Howling made Gremlins, to me, anyway. And then there's Gremlins 2, which is like it's like kind of a Mad Magazine parody of the first movie, kind of overblown and overrated by critics and film guys who like overvalue that kind of cleverness. Like, oh my gosh, it's making fun of the first movie, and they're pointing out, oh wow, it's like a horror movie that knows it's a horror movie. Head explodes. Oh my gosh, this is postmodern. 5 stars, a new classic. It's like, no. The first one's better. I like the first one's better. The Burbs. Saw that in a theater. Loved it. Loved the Sergio Leone thing. Even as a kid, I got what that was because I guess I had seen those movies or understood like what the film parody of it was by having like, the theme from Once Upon a Time in the West kick in, and like the camera doing like Leone, pan in on people's eyes, and like ending with the eyes of the dog, which like look very Eastwoodian. Like the dog's eyes are great where they pan in. It does look like kind of squinty, and so yeah, that's a good one. I like how the Burbs kind of sets itself up as if it's going to be the monsters are due on Maple Street. This like excoriation of suburban paranoia, but the neighborhood bullies and blowhards like turn out to be right about everything. Like the neighbors actually are serial killers, which is a very like, even as a guy appreciated that. That's a very funny joke. Also, at that time, nobody really wanted to see Tom Hanks go to jail, at the end of a movie. Like I do now. Like that'd be great. Yeah, let's throw Tom Hanks in jail. That'd be in a movie, and in life too. I don't care, whatever. No, I would. No. I think he can. I think Tom Hanks can walk free, I guess. But Small Soldiers. Kind of a disappointment. I like it conceptually. It would have been cool if they'd been able to make sequels to it. It's a little bit preachy about war toys and stuff like that. While allowing you to enjoy them, and also while selling the toys. It's like it's not. It's okay. It's cool if you get the guys who did the Dirty Dozen to do the voices, and it's cool if you got the guys who did Spinal Tap to do the voices of the good Organites, the good guys. That's cool, but it's not cool if you have to point it out in the end credits. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's a little lame. It's a little, and I just don't like the human characters that much, and it feels kind of TV oriented. I've seen it. I'll probably watch it again. I've seen it many a time, but yeah, I'll watch it again. But it's not. It's a flawed film, I think. Um, which is too bad because I like it conceptually. They should do sequels to it. Looney Tunes back in action. Um, Good. Something that's not quite 100% there with it, but pretty good. The scene where Elmer Fudd chases Bugs Bunny and I think someone else through the Daffy through the Louvre. That's pretty cool. Um, that's a very film guy scene. I'm like, oh yeah. So like it. I like it, but in a 3-star kind of way. It's a weird thing too, where like Dante's like satire starts to get a little dated. Like in Small Soldiers, they have Dennis Leary show up and do one of his like patented, what I hate rants, and it's like, oh man, this shit again. That might have been like that felt even dated then, and I think they felt like 5 or 10 years behind the times, and I don't know. David Cross like not committing to playing a nerd character, and like, oh hey, I'm acting, and it's like, it's just off. It's just, what I mean. It's like trying to be cool but not quite getting there. The Howling, very sinister, perverse film. Like I said in another video, it's you're gonna die in front of cartoons. Like having a likable character just get mercilessly killed in front of like some old Fleischer Brothers or Warner Brothers cartoons playing on the TV. It's just the sinister maniacal cruelty of it's interesting. Twilight Zone the movie. Okay, that scene where the camera pans down and the sister does not have a mouth. That was terrifying to me as a kid. Man, that was a scary. That whole sequence. That whole thing was just scary. And also too, and I as a kid in the suburbs in the 80s knew nothing about what had happened on the set of the Twilight Zone, and I knew something was off with that movie when I watched it. Like you could just there's like this. I was like, this movie has a sinister vibe. There's something really weird with this movie. And later I found out like the whole thing is like kind of death haunted. And I know some skeptical person would be like, well, you just had heard about that, is like, or your parents or something. Like, no, my parents didn't know about that. Nobody, I mean, my parents didn't care about movies like, on that level. Do you know what I mean? Like, no, I didn't hear somebody be like, oh, this is the movie where somebody died. No, I watched it on HBO by myself, and so, and I was like, ugh, this is something's off here. Inner Space. I remember asking this kid I knew in like 3rd or 4th grade, I was like, hey, do you have a favorite movie? And he was like, Inner Space, and which had just come out on video, so it was probably like the last movie he saw that he liked a lot. But I liked it a lot too. I thought it was like really unique and interesting. Like, oh, this is kind of like, it's a miniature movie, but it's also a spy through like somebody mashed up the Incredible Shrinking Man and like a spy spoof or something. It's great. Matinee. I don't like its earnest sincerity. I think there's a vibe of like liberal earnestness that sometimes runs through Dante's work that it kind of trips him up a little bit. I just didn't like the main characters. I didn't really like. I didn't like how like overly emotional it was about like the Cuban Missile Crisis. Which yes, I'm sure. Yes, I know. But like this is a movie I'm watching. You don't need to get sincere on me. It's just a little too like sincere, and like you can almost kind of feel that like Dante may have been like, this is my big one. This one's gonna get me that Oscar. You know what I mean? I don't know. I'm speculating. I'm cinema speculating, huh? But I just didn't want that into it. I know people love it though. Also, I want to say this too. John Goodman does not in any way seem like what William Castle was actually like. It's kind of a weird, like you watch old William Castle stuff, and his movies are kind of good. Or at least good. They're good drive-in entertainment fodder trash, But he was kind of like Hitchcock for kids or something, and he was very droll and like had a certain kind of morbid like wit, like where he's like, "Hello, my little homicidal friends," and whereas like John Goodman just plays him as like a total vulgarian, kind of the same thing he does to John Milius in The Big Lebowski, and people love it, but it's like, well, that's not really what John Milius is like, it's a total reductive kind of portrayal of like pretty cool directors. So I guess if that's what you need, you could just get John Goodman for it. He'll, if you want to make a director lesser than what they were, Explorers, good Spielberg pastiche. The ending kind of ruins it. Like I said, it just does. I showed this to my nephew, and he was really into it for the entire movie until the ending. It gets kind of great up until that, because it kind of starts to play like Alien for kids. You know what I mean? And then the ending just makes it a mediocre episode of like Spielberg's amazing stories or something. It just does not. It just sadly kind of ruins the movie. The whole really underrated like late career. I don't say masterpiece, but really good, like a really good like Goosebumps movie. Very good. Filmed very not really released in theaters, kind of buried. It was supposed to be in 3D, but which you don't get to see it in 3D, or I didn't. Yeah, so like I never saw that one. I never saw that one in a theater, but it's quite excellent. It's quite excellent, quite good for the kiddies and myself. Movie Ward you never saw, his Nightmare Cinema thing never saw, Amazon Women on the Moon. Good, not that funny, but good. Do you know what I mean? Like it's got some pretty good sketches and some that are just go on like way too long. I liked it a lot when I saw it on TV as a kid. I like the I've got the hiccups. I like the Siskel and Ebert thing. Where like the two guys review a dude's life and just like, thumbs down, what a boring and inspired life. That one's really funny. And then that goes into this like thing about like a dude getting like roasted at his funeral, which goes on like way too long, but whatever. Burying the Ex never saw. Hollywood Boulevard, great movie made for like no money for Roger Corman. Very funny and anarchistic and crazy. Second Civil War TV movie. Somebody's calling on the phone. I'm just going to let the machine get it. Second Civil War TV movie. Never saw. Homecoming. Preachy. Hang on. Beep, boop. All right. All right. Maybe I'll just call back because I can't get this thing. Yeah. So, Homecoming is like preachy swill. It's just preachy anti-George W. Bush, like anti-neocon swill. And like I don't know. I kind of agree with it, but I'm just not. I don't. It's just not good. Splatter. Never saw that. The Screwfly Solution. That one's a really good one. Based off a short story by I forgot the lady science fiction author who wrote it, but a really good one, really disturbing disturbing contribution to the Masters of Horror series. Trapped in Ashes. I've never seen this, but it looks like V.C. Andrews' Flowers in the Attic, but never seen or heard of that. Runaway Daughters, a kind of boomer dunking on the 50s. Yeah, okay, I get it. Yeah, the 50s was lame. The Osiris Chronicles, never seen. Haunted Lighthouse 4D, never seen. Picture Windows, never seen. Lightning, never seen. So that's all I got about. That's all I can tell you about Joe Dante.